Tonight on KGW News, a family's fury and disbelief.
He's a menace to society.
As they call for justice after a teenage father allegedly killed his own son.
4 years old, he had a whole future ahead of him.
Also tonight, protecting students from gun violence.
You know, gun violence is getting younger and younger.
The outreach program hubbed around Portland schools. Leaders hope will save lives. And refunding the police. What the mayor's new budget could mean for the Bureau and Portland Street response. Good evening, and we begin tonight with a troubling case out of Washington County. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. Investigators confirming they've arrested a Tigard couple under allegations of severe ongoing child abuse, with detectives concerned there could be more victims. A warning tonight, the details may be difficult to hear. Our Catherine Cook explains.
Pretty horrific information.
Washington County Sheriff Sergeant Danny DePietro says he's never dealt with a case like this. It stems around a home in unincorporated Tigard where 2 adults, 9 kids, and 2 young adults all lived. Last week, detectives launched an investigation into alleged abuse at the home. They learned a child was being chained up, often for more than 12 hours a day. They say the child was also strangled, hit, kicked, and verbally abused.
Inside the home, they found evidence to corroborate the allegations.
Investigators learned the abuse had gone on for nearly a year and was allegedly the result of the child taking drinks and food from the kitchen. Investigators say a second victim in this case is a young adult.
These crimes in themselves, these circumstances are horrific. Let's be honest, they shock the conscience.
Detectives arrested 67-year-old Anna Miranda and her husband, 74-year-old Charles Randy Ward, for criminal mistreatment in the first degree. Investigators also learned Miranda had allegedly assaulted several other children in the home over many years. On Wednesday, the case went before a grand jury. That led to more charges against Miranda, including assault in the second degree and strangulation. Investigators are looking for more information on both Miranda and Ward, including any circumstances that might make someone question them. They strongly believe there could be more victims.
So we're trying to figure out what else could have happened in that home, and if anyone else was hurt, abused, had any similar circumstances happen.
DePietro says the children in this case are now safe with responsible adults. He also clarified that they're not part of the foster care system. Beyond that, investigators aren't saying how the kids and the suspects are connected, other than they're all known to each other.
Our goal here is to protect the victim and victims as much as possible. This is horrific, what they've had to go through, so any more trauma, we'll do anything and everything we can to protect them.
In Washington County, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
We have another difficult story to share with you tonight. A Portland family now facing an unimaginable tragedy, with a father accused of killing his young son. 19-year-old Marquavius Ware pleaded not guilty today to the murder of his 4-year-old son, Jordan Clay. Detectives say on Wednesday afternoon, police were called to an apartment building near Northeast Rosa Parks. They say they found Jordan unconscious and suffering from significant trauma. He died after being taken to the hospital. Today, emotions understandably spilled over both inside and outside that courtroom, including this from Jordan's mother and great-grandmother.
I want him in jail for the rest of his life. If you can't tell, he's a menace to society.
You want to hurt somebody, but you know you can't, because we got to leave it in God's hands, number one, and we got to leave it in justice hands.
Well, Jordan's mom and her family say he had been with his dad for the last month or so. The family had been trying to get him back because they felt he wasn't getting good care. Marquavius Ware, is due back in court next Thursday. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, police have identified one of the 2 victims found dead in Portland's Centennial neighborhood. The family of 34-year-old Harry Latour Jr. released a photo of him. Police say they found Latour's body after he was shot to death Sunday morning on Southeast Nageley Drive. Officers found a second body less than a mile away. That man has not been identified. In Salem, the Senate showdown stretched into a second day when most Republicans did not show up to work. GOP lawmakers say it's not a stall tactic as the Senate prepares to take up bills on abortion and gun safety, but rather about Democrats violating a law that requires bills to be summarized in plain language. So what do party leaders think Oregonians make of the walkout?
Most citizens don't even know that we're actually in session. So I think the people who follow the legislature pretty closely do, but most Oregonians are going to work, taking care of their kids, and trying to live their lives.
I do believe that Oregonians are smarter than he's giving them credit for. They do know that we are here and doing the work of the people of Oregon.
Well, no word on when this is going to end, though we do know Senators Lieber and Knopp also had a nice, big, long meeting today, as Lieber put it, about all sorts of different issues. The Republican leader, meanwhile, is also talking to the governor. And Portland officials have selected a California nonprofit to run the Rose City's latest safe rest village. Urban Alchemy will manage the Peninsula Crossing Village in North Portland. Now, this is the same organization the mayor picked in March to operate the city's first large-scale sanctioned homeless camp. That's at Southeast 13th and Powell. It has yet to open. Urban Alchemy also operates sites for homeless people in California and Texas. Well, meanwhile, Ted Wheeler released a $7 billion+ proposed budget this afternoon, which, among other things, includes funding to hire 43 additional police officers. Let's bring in Alma McCarty. And Alma, as with any budget, there is a lot to break down. It is always in the details. So what else stands out?
David, you mentioned PPB. There's also money to reinstate a fire and rescue program and funding to return the elk statue downtown. Of that $7.1 billion, the mayor says most of it, 90% in fact, is already dedicated to running the city. Park construction, treating drinking water, paving streets, replacing sewer pipes, and building affordable housing. And he says of the remaining 10%, much of that is already spoken for too, funding police, fire, 911, parks and rec. But in a video statement today, Mayor Wheeler highlighted what the city can expect for the next fiscal year.
Last year, I put forward a budget that invested in healing and building for the future of Portland. This year, my proposed budget builds on that foundation.
$7.1 billion for the next fiscal year. Mayor Wheeler starting off a video statement Thursday by pointing out not everything can be covered.
Given general inflation to existing costs, the sunsetting of federal one-time resources to fund ongoing needs, and the elevated level of deferred maintenance, the demand for resources continues to surpass availability within the city.
But the city can and will fund several top priority projects. The mayor's budget dedicates more than $43 million to continue the operation of hundreds of shelter beds, plus more funding to expand the Street Services Coordination Center, which coordinates homeless camp sweeps and connects people with services. This budget also bolsters Portland police recruitment efforts.
As part of my stated goal to hire 300 new police officers over a 3-year period, I've released funding for 43 new sworn officer positions.
Mayor Wheeler's proposal tackles stolen vehicle recovery and retail theft investigations. It keeps funding for Portland street response the same and dedicates $2.6 million to reinstate Portland Fire and Rescue's Rapid Response Vehicle program. That includes smaller teams of firefighters responding to emergencies, mainly on the east side. As for economic recovery and livability, the mayor plans to keep up trash collection and graffiti abatement, dedicating nearly $22 million to those efforts. $400,000 will go to Solve to clean up neighborhoods, and $2 million is slated for derelict RV enforcement and towing.
We'll continue funding street lighting citywide to encourage Portlanders to get into their community and take advantage of all that our small businesses and events have to offer.
The mayor's setting aside money for those too through a small business stabilization program and a promise to invest in more events.
And finally, I'm proposing to rebuild and reinstall the Thompson elk to its natural habitat.
This budget also accounts for the overhaul to city government approved by voters in November. Millions of dollars have been dedicated to fully implementing the charter change by January 1st, 2025.
Now, this isn't a done deal. City Council will approve a final version in June. There's a budget work session next Tuesday, then a public hearing where Portlanders can weigh in on Thursday. We will have a full link to the 300-plus page document on KGW.com.
Yeah,
David?
if you have an opinion, now is the time to speak up. A lot of detail there, Alma. We appreciate you going through it all. Thanks so much. Let's give you a glimpse of what transpired overnight, because the power of nature woke a lot of folks up early as a thunderstorm rolled across the Portland metro, with many of you sending us pictures like this, showing that awesome display cascading across the sky. Thanks to viewers Jason Hughes and James Coolbaugh for sharing those photos. All right, Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafino's here. Matt, we talked about how rare these are in our region, especially overnight. My question, what's coming next?
You know what? It's been dry ever since that heavy rain from this morning and early afternoon ended. There are still showers over on the east side of the state, but the thunderstorms even in eastern Oregon have ended. But this is what it looked like early this morning, like 4 a.m. We captured several lightning strikes from our Wells Fargo Skycam. It will not be that again overnight tonight and tomorrow morning, much to the dismay of weather watchers who love to hear and see a good thunderstorm. But that is what it looked like earlier today. This is yesterday, actually. Lightning strike up by Rowena Crest in the Gorge by landscape photographer Jesse Brackenbury took that shot. And this one was my favorite. This really stormy, turbulent looking sky that Jesse also captured out that way. But again, things have dried out. It hasn't rained for several hours now, and the onshore winds are increasing. Notice they're out of the west and southwest throughout the region here, throughout the metro area, southwest of Eugene, Salem. So that means that cooler coastal air is infiltrated the western valleys, and that will also go to inhibiting the threat of thunderstorms, although we're likely going to see showers in the afternoon for the next 3 days. So no more thunderstorms. Showers, yes, but again, mainly in the afternoons. And then warmer weather, we got the potential for that at the end of next week. We'll dig into that a little bit later. David, back to you.
Like the sound of that. Thank you, Matt.